It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary.
Hello, word nerds. Welcome to the dictionary. Yet again, we have a guest, and we're in this really weird phase where I've had like three or four guests within a really short amount of time. I really hope that I can keep this up going forward. So today we have Jeff quotes UHJeff end quotes Nucera. And of course, if you are a Weird Al fan, you get that reference. Jeff, I am so pleased that you are here. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Spencer. Thank you so much for having me.
As if we haven't been talking for 16 minutes already.
I don't know what you're referring to. How dare you?
It doesn't exist. So can you just quickly tell us kind of why you're here? Why did I invite you on the show, this episode specifically?
I think because we are in the D's in the dictionary, and you were calling me a D-bag earlier. Or was that you? Wait, no.
No, that was totally me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's, I think, why, right? Oh,
That's
no, wait,
one
it's
reason.
the other thing. The other thing is I'm making a documentary, and I'm a documentarian or a documentarist.
Yeah.
Depending on what word you're looking at. And I think that's why I'm here, maybe.
That is completely why you are here. So we'll talk about that a little bit more, but can you just tell us like a little bit about who you are? Who is Jeff? Where did this nickname come from? Where was he born? Why is he the way he is? Who is he? Why do we love him so much?
I don't know that we do love him, but Jeff he was born in Philadelphia, and he basically, fast forward a little bit, he's a big Weird Al fan, which is how he got the nickname UHJeff, based on his movie UHF. And at some point in time, Jeff moved from Philadelphia to Los Angeles and began to work for Weird Al, sorting his fan mail and doing other odd jobs, pun intended, here and there. You can see me on Al's Poodle Hat album cover, sort of way in the background. You can see me also way in the background in Weird, the Al Yankovic story, in a couple of scenes.
Best movie ever.
And so, yeah, that's who Jeff is.
That job, sorting through fan mail and things like that must have been a very coveted job. How did you get that job?
That is a good question. I think I was just around, to be totally honest.
Just hanging out in front of the house.
Yeah, just at the P.O. box, waiting.
Yeah.
Al's manager reached out to me probably like a year after I moved to L.A., and so Al knew I was in town, and so did Bermuda. And so when the person who had been sorting Al's mail was moving out of town, I guess my name came up when they were trying to figure out who could take over, and it was me.
How did your name come up? Were you already like a big feature in the fan community?
Big feature is maybe overstating, but I was a big fan, and I sort of was probably a nuisance in the 90s.
The squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Exactly, yeah. I went to just a million shows during the Bad Hair tour, and I had gotten to know Bermuda after he emailed me accidentally in like 1995, thinking I was someone else. And I was like, I know that name, I know that person, and I have never left him alone to this very day. So
you and other people, there is a wonderful podcast called Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast. I have heard
of them.
You have? Yes, I suspect that you have.
Yes.
They were on this show back in the B's, and their podcast has just grown, and I know that you've been on that show multiple times because you guys seem to be really good friends. And
yes, I love those guys. Would you say that they're the bee's knees?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
They are the bee's knees. I think I know what you are referencing. That was part of their episode, wasn't it?
Well, because they were in the bees.
They were in the bees, exactly.
Right.
And Bermuda, Al's drummer, has been on that show countless times. I mean, the fact that he lets them still contact him is kind of astounding.
Bermuda is definitely a sport. I'll give him that.
Yes, he is amazing. I don't remember where I was going with that, but we'll just come up with something else. So you have been very close. You've been in the Weird Al community, and so when did you? Oh, well, the documentary is what we're getting to.
Oh yes.
It's called SHOWGALS, and I'll let you talk more about it. But basically, this is a troupe of burlesque performers who dance and perform to Weird Al songs, which is, like happens. That is a very common thing that happens. And so where
the age-old story.
Yes, as old as time. Where did you first hear about them?
I first heard about them on the internet, on Twitter. Our friend Ludovica hipped me to it when they were coming to LA. I think Al had actually tweeted about them before, but when they were coming to LA, Ludovica was like, "You have to go see this show, and report back, please." And so I was like, "What the hell is this?" Absolutely, I'm there. So my friends and I went, and it was a magical, life-altering experience. I mean, there were people. Someone did Bob, which is a pretty deep cut in the Weird Al catalog. It's one of my favorites, but it's not. It's a song made of palindromes, done in the style of a Bob Dylan song.
Genius.
And who's stripping to that? Not a whole lot of people. So that got my attention. Someone did Trapped in the Drive-Thru with puppets.
Oh, God.
And the leader, Pickles Kintaro, did a performance to Amish Paradise. And that was it was just mind blowing. I mean, these people were so, their performances were so great, and their costumes were amazing, and they put a ton of effort into it, and I just loved it.
I completely understand, and I have never seen the show. I would love to see it. I know that you're a Twin Peaks fan as well, and
yes.
We actually saw a Twin Peaks burlesque show in New York last year.
Ooh, how was that?
Fantastic, of course. Nice. Amazing.
Did
Highly
they have
recommend
what was their name?
I think they're called the Pink Room. Do you know that reference?
I do. That's
okay.
Amazing.
From Fire Walk with Me. Yeah,
yes.
No, it's great and funny, and yeah, they were amazing. So I highly recommend that. I don't know if they travel, but definitely New York if you ever get there. So SHOWGALS, is that the name of the troupe?
Tight and Nerdy is the name of the troupe.
Got it.
And their evening out is called the Alstravaganza. And SHOWGALS is just I think it started off as a sort of a pun for Showgirls, as a joke, and now it's our title somehow.
Well, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It really is. So where are they based, by the way?
They are based sort of everywhere. I mean, they started off in the San Fran area. Okay. And then their leader moved to Minnesota for a while, so they were doing a ton of shows in the Midwest, and now they were doing West Coast shows again before the pandemic hit, and now they're sort of in a holding pattern at the moment while we all sort of figure out what we're doing.
Yeah.
As we come out of the pandy coma.
The pandy coma. It's the first time I've heard that one. So where did you get the idea to make a documentary about them? When?
I got the idea from Pickles Kintaro herself, who reached out to me right after I saw them. A few days had gone by, and she reached out to me on Facebook and was like, "Oh, do you think there's a film here, a documentary? Because I am a unscripted television producer by trade." And so she knew that and was like, "Oh, maybe there's something here." And normally when people pitch themselves as the subject of a TV show or a film, I'm a little leery about it. I'm like, not that interesting, no. But I talked to her, and I talked to some of her cohorts, and
And if you're on Patreon, you will get to see a cat just walk through.
Yeah, Chloe
Not the
has
first
just walked
time that's
by.
happened.
Sorry about that. Yeah, Chloe walked by. Anyway, so Pickles, I spoke with her and some of the other dancers, performers, and they were so fascinating and so wonderful, and their stories are specifically weird. I mean, it's a Weird Al themed burlesque show. It's bananas, but their stories are also like universal. I mean, they all have this, they were misfits, they were outcasts. We all kind of, I think, share a lot of that. When we were growing up, I certainly was a misfit and had trouble fitting in. And then you see someone like Weird Al, who is professing how weird he is and how he doesn't fit in, and people love him for it. And it's sort of this beacon of hope if you're, a guy like me or like them, or maybe like you. I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, you've got glasses, so clearly you're.
Oh, right. Yeah, obviously. That's the telltale sign.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I fell in love with him mid '80s. My sister, I think, she was playing Dare to Be Stupid, and so she's 4 years older than me, and I was 5 or 6 at the time, and so I hear this music, and it just gloms onto me. You can never get rid of it. You don't want to get rid of it. And so, yeah, it's been a lifelong love. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's that story, it's that broad story, but told from the very narrow point of view of a burlesque troupe. Strangely enough. Oh,
nothing's even strange to me at this point. I love the idea. I think it's fantastic. I really cannot wait to see it because I just think it's a genius idea.
Me neither.
And I bet you can't. So I think when maybe we get to maybe the word documentary, we'll chat a little bit more about kind of like what's involved in making something like this.
Sure.
You clearly have some experience being an unscripted television producer.
Yes.
But I do think it's fascinating, and by now, when you're hearing this, nobody can donate to the Kickstarter. We will know if the Kickstarter has, I guess, been successful or not. But even if it wasn't successful, I know that you and I'm pointing to Jeff, but also whoever's listening, and myself, and the fan community, we are all going to get this made in some way.
Yes,
so
I'm either very happy right now or very sad. So we'll see.
Hey, the very sad, what I've learned in my life is that there's always a silver lining, and things always tend to turn out better than you could have imagined. And it's like, oh, well, this is better than what I thought what I wanted. So even if it didn't succeed, it will be better for some reason.
Yes,
I think.
I agree with that 100%, which is why I'm not totally panicking, but I will have probably panicked before this airs.
Fair point. Fair. Totally fair. All right. Well, let's get into the words, and then we'll talk more about documentaries because I love documentaries. I don't watch enough of them, but they're good stuff, especially if you want to learn about Weird Al music and burlesque performing.
Yes.
Okay. So the first word in this episode is doctrinaire, and this is the first form. It is spelled DOCTRINAIRE, noun from 1831. And and actually my previous episode had a doctor on it because we talked about the word doctor. I don't remember if this is tagging onto that, but it doesn't matter. It is one who attempts to put into effect an abstract doctrine or theory with little or no regard for practical difficulties. I think that's a pretty funny definition because it's like, I think this is the thing that I'm going to do, but I'm not going to really think about the practical aspect of it. I don't really care. I think that's a one way to go about it, but also probably not the right way to go about things.
I see, and I'm glad that I'm on this episode because I thought it was a person who makes millions off of doctrines, and I'm so wrong.
Millions or billions off of doctrines. Yeah. We will get to doctrine soon if you want to learn about that.
Oh, great.
Let's see. Yeah, this is just the French word from doctrine. But yeah, it's interesting. Doctrinaire. Okay, well, yeah, we'll learn more when we get to doctrine. But first, we have to make a sound effect. I don't know if you were aware of this.
Oh,
but
I didn't realize it was on us.
Oh, it is. It's totally on us. What's the first thing that pops in your head that makes a sound? It could be
Chloe,
a cat.
Maybe. Mm-hmm. No, she won't perform on
Command. No.
But I can do an impression of her. Meow.
It's perfect.
Meow.
There we go. It's a very human meow. The second form is also doctrinaire. This one is an adjective from 1834 of, relating to, or characteristic of a doctrinaire. That would be the person who attempts to put into effect an abstract doctrine or theory with little or no regard for practical difficulties. The synonym is dogmatic. And another synonym is dictatorial.
Ah.
Interesting. And then doctrinairism is a noun and a weird word to say.
Yes. Doctrinairism.
Doctrinairism. So yeah, that's the whole world of being a doctrinaire. And yeah, I don't really know much about this. Do you have any thoughts?
I don't. I've already done my doctrinaire joke.
Yeah, it's one for the day. That's it. Well, I think when we get to doctrine, just the word doctrine, it might give us a little bit more information about this person who does this stuff.
Some might say you're being doctrinal right now.
Doctrinal? Maybe
yes.
Dictatorial or dogmatic? I don't know.
Maybe. Or preoccupied with doctrine. I wonder if that's a definition somewhere.
Meow. The next word is... See, you set me up. This is not the first time that this has happened. I get there eventually. Yeah, so the next word is doctrinal.
Oh.
Fancy that. And the British like to say doctrinal. Because
yes, they
always
do.
have to screw things up. We have a love. We love each other. So doctrinal or doctrinal, this is an adjective from the 15th century of, relating to, or preoccupied with doctrine. I am so focused. I love my doctrines.
Yes.
And doctrinally, doctrinally or doctrinally, that is an adverb.
Doctrinally. I like it, but I don't really know.
Anything about it. Me too.
Right.
It's your turn. It's your turn for a sound effect, please.
Oh.
Same one.
Ooh, meow.
That one goes on a while. I like it.
Yes. I'm trying to get Chloe to participate, and she's just staring at me as if I'm insane.
My as usual, right?
Yeah.
My dream for this episode will be that she will give us a meow at the exact right time with no prompting whatsoever. It won't happen.
That's also my dream, but
yeah.
Obviously dreams don't come true.
Dreams fade quickly. Okay, the next word is doctrine, and there is an E at the end. It is a noun from the 14th century. We have a number of definitions here. Number 1 is archaic. The synonyms are teaching and instruction. So you used to be able to say doctrine if you were talking about teaching or instructing people to do things. 2A.
I guess that's like indoctrinate, but different, right? Is that where that's coming from?
Yes, I suspect that when we get to the word indoctrinate, it will probably give us some etymology related to this word doctrine.
To be continued.
Because that makes sense. Yes,
Yeah.
Come back for the eyes in years from now. It's funny to everybody else. To me, it's like I can't even laugh at the reality of my life right now because it's so depressing. But I brought it on myself, so it's like
self-inflicted
whatever.
for sure. Yes,
it's a problem for future Spencer. Okay, 2A for doctrine. something that is taught. So yeah,
Yes.
indoctrinate, definitely, that makes sense. So, when parents have kids, I wouldn't know. They have kids, they teach them about what they think is the right way to be or to act. And so they are, I guess they are giving them doctrines. I guess that's because it's a noun. Yeah, something, or the thing that they teach them is the doctrine. I'm going to teach you about how to be good with people. That's the doctrine.
How to be a human, yes.
Right. A good human, preferably.
Yes.
To be, so this will be related, a principle or position or the body of principles in a branch of knowledge or system of belief. And the synonym is dogma. Dogma is going to come up in about a week from now. You will hear me talk about dogma.
The movie
so
or the word?
Both, maybe.
Oh, sweet!
I did record it. I did mention the movie. It's been years and years since I saw it, so I can't really speak very well to it. But I do really want to watch that movie again. Do you remember it well?
I don't, but I remember enjoying it.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, I think the last time I saw it was in a theater.
It's probably about when I saw it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just the whole idea of these things that are the system of beliefs, things that can be taught to people, knowledge, all of that stuff is doctrine.
Yes.
2C, a principle of law established through past decisions. So, I guess this is the idea of just, the Supreme Court, they make decisions and then theoretically a precedent is made from those decisions, and then we stick to that precedent unless people decide to undo those precedents from 60 years ago.
Yes.
I'm not talking about anything specific here.
I wouldn't even think about suggesting that. Nope.
Not at all. But yeah, so it's,
in their attempts to indoctrinate people. What?
What? I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay, so that's that. 2D, a statement of fundamental government policy, especially in international relations. I got nothing for that.
No. But
and then,
sure.
Sure. That's what it says. And then finally, 2E, a military principle or set of strategies. I feel like these definitions, 2A, B, C, D, E, they sort of got further and further away from the idea of this teaching or system of beliefs. I mean, I'm sure that they're obviously connected, but
it becomes broader as we go down these definitions, I think.
Yeah, in some way. The etymology, there's not much, but it does say that this is from the Latin word doctrina, which is from basically from the word doctor. Was there a Latin? Yeah, the Latin doctor, which actually, if we look in the previous episode, it means teacher, I think.
Oh,
so
look at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The doctor is teaching the doctrines.
I like that. That makes sense.
So if you're teaching somebody something, even if you're not a doctor, you can say that you're a doctor because you are teaching.
Yes.
I
would
said
be a
it,
very
so
bad doctor. I would be a very terrible doctor.
I would too. I think in some ways I would be good. Like I would maybe be very empathetic with the people, compassionate, but I don't know anything about the science-y medical things, and I don't want to go through the training.
One maybe thinks of the doctor character in Weird Al's like a surgeon. I would probably be on par with that guy.
Yeah. You have to watch the video to really get the full
horror of that. Yes.
Yeah. And there may or may not be lions in the hospital. What was that? It was just listening. What was I listening to or watching? I think there was a video that he had done. Somebody was interviewing him about his music videos or something, and that one came up. And I just watched this within the last couple of weeks, I think. And he was like, well, Madonna had a lion in her music video, so I had to have one in mine.
Yeah. Was it the Howie Mandel interview, maybe?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't remember where I saw it.
I don't know
That's
either.
something on YouTube.
But it sounds familiar to me as well. I've also recently heard or seen that.
Yeah, it could have been like, we're going to interview him about his 10 most popular videos or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they do.
As they should.
As they should, yeah. Okay. I think it's my turn for a sound effect. Meow.
Ooh.
The next word is docudrama. You can pronounce it different ways. Docudrama, if you have that sort of way of talking. Docudrama. This is a noun from circa 1961. A drama, as for television, dealing freely with historical events, especially of a recent and controversial nature.
You mean like Weird, the Al Yankovic story on Roku?
That's very controversial. And that's a very controversial thing you said. Very recent as well, and historical, and accurate.
Yes, it deals freely with events. I'll give it that.
It's very free with what really happened in the world. Obviously, if you people have not seen the Weird movie, which is free on Roku, you 100% have to go watch it, because even if you're not a Weird Al fan, you will love it.
Yeah. Who's not a Weird Al fan? Especially people who are listening to the Dictionary podcast.
Yeah, I think there's some good crossover, probably. Yeah.
That's a healthy Venn diagram if I've ever seen it.
Lots of crossover. So docudrama. Now, you say that you are an unscripted television producer for unscripted TV shows. Yes. Have you ever made anything that you would call a docudrama?
Not really. I mean, I guess like true crime is sort of docudrama-esque.
Yeah.
And I've done a couple of those, but mostly, I think that docudrama mostly is like a scripted phenomenon, sort of like 127 Hours, for example, with what's his name that I can't think of?
James Franco,
who has, he pins himself under a boulder and has to cut his arm off.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
If you didn't know. The only difference that I would say with that is that it does say it's often for television. So the way that I think of
That's
this...
That's true, yes.
I think of this more like a series, a docudrama series, but it also doesn't say that it is a series, so that's not entirely accurate either.
Right,
but no,
and then there's also a docu-series, which is is not on this list, but
it's in the next.
But maybe
yeah, it's in the next one. That's what's interesting is that I guess this is essentially a documentary for the television, and typically dramatic and deals with historical events. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it's like a dramatized real life story, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
And this term is from 1961, so I think these days we have things that would be called docudrama, but we probably use different names for them now, I think.
Yeah, what was going on in 1961 where they first coined that, I wonder?
Yeah, maybe I'll have to do a little research and figure out what would have been the first docudrama, something that they made for TV that dealt with a historical thing. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, interesting.
I'm not a historical smart person.
Neither am I. Am I allowed to look at Wikipedia during this?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not a dictionary, but like, I don't really know. I don't know what the rules are for the Dictionary podcast.
There are no rules.
Oh, good.
No holds barred or whatever. Yeah, if you find something, just blurt it out.
It is a fact-based representation of a real event, according to Wikipedia.
So
dialogue may or may not include the actual words of real-life people.
So recreations, those sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, recreations of scenes or something, if you don't have the actual video or audio or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. So basically it says here that docudramas strive to adhere to known historical facts like Weird, the Al Yankovic story, while allowing some degree of dramatic license. Also like Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
So it has been declared that Weird the Al Yankovic story is a docudrama. And it was never in theaters.
I've declared it several times.
Yes. We just have to pound it in. It's true now. It's fact. It's in Wikipedia. Can you
You're
go
welcome,
update that?
everyone. Yeah, I'll take care of that.
This is just from the word documentary plus drama, docudrama. Sound effect, please.
Meow.
The next word is document. This is the first form noun from the 15th century. Number 1A is archaic, and the synonyms are proof and evidence. It's a document. That's weird that one's archaic.
It is. I've been on jury duty where they have presented documents as proof or evidence.
Right.
While I seethe in the jury box. What?
Just waiting. I think I've been in two times I went through like the question process, and 2 times I got booted out of there.
Oh, God. It is the most infuriating aspect of life as far as I'm concerned. Jury duty is so inefficient that I kind of can't handle it.
Yeah. It's kind of funny that so many people have that same feeling, but if you go back like 50 years, people were like, yes, even today, yes, I want to do jury duty. It's my civic duty as an American citizen to do this. Hell yeah, I want to do it.
Sure,
and
then go ahead.
Most people, yeah, do it.
Let them do it. I am busy.
And I don't like...
Possibly.
but maybe, possibly. And I don't appreciate the $18 check that you give me.
You get $18? Man, you're rich.
Hey, what do you get?
I think we get 15 after the first day. The first day we don't get anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, that's all they get. Well, I don't know. I haven't actually been on a jury, so I don't know if anything happens after that.
So jealous.
Oh, boy. Don't really want to do it, but I guess it's my civic duty as an American citizen.
Oi.
1B for document. An original or official paper relied on as the basis, proof, or support of something.
It's like a birth certificate would be a document, an official document.
Anything official, anything that has a stamp, has a signature, it's been notarized.
Oh, I love a good notary.
Yeah. Do you watch Parks and Rec?
I don't. I'm sorry.
Oh.
And I've tried several times to get into
Really?
it.
And it just didn't get you?
I just, all I want is 30 Rock.
Fantastic.
If I'm watching Parks and Rec, I should be watching 30 Rock, is what I feel like.
All right. I guess that's fair. I would recommend getting through it if you can. But one of the characters becomes a notary, and he's like the happiest person in the world. He's like, this is my lifelong dream.
That appeals to me. Like I fully recognize that the show is going to be good once I get into it, and I just can't yet. I'm not there. I'm not ready yet.
You got to be in the right mental state, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. 1C for document. Something as a photograph or a recording that serves as evidence or proof. So someday, somebody may take the audio of this episode because they need to prove something that one of us said, and that would be a document.
Yes. Oh, gosh. How scary.
Yeah. What are we going to say, or what have we said that will be in a court case someday?
I wonder if the jurors are as infuriated as I would be.
They're going to play this whole thing, and we're going to disparage jury duty. Okay. 2A, a writing conveying information. That's very broad. Just a writing, something that's been written down, and it conveys information.
Sure.
It's anything. A memo, a napkin, a Post-it.
Yes.
I've made lots of documents.
Yes. I'm a document creating machine.
2B, a material substance as a coin or stone, having on it a representation of thoughts by means of some conventional mark or symbol. What is this?
That feels crazy to me, but I don't know. Like a coin is a document?
So I think This feels very old, first of
Yes.
all. I mean, I don't think we're making coins or stones and putting marks on them other than literal coins, like money coins.
Yeah, with marks on. I mean, those do have marks and or symbols.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't really think of something specific other than things older than money. But, back in the day, they would carve things into stone or coins, like the Egyptians. They would put hieroglyphics on things or other things like that.
Back then, those were documents, I suppose.
Yeah. It represented their thoughts, maybe what they did throughout the day.
Yes.
Yeah. I would never have called that a document, but now that I think about it, yes, all those things on the walls of the pyramids or on vases or whatever it is, that would be a document of the thing that happened at that time.
Yeah. I was actually going to say something, but definition number 3 kind of gets there for us.
Okay, before 3, we have 2C. The synonym is documentary. So a documentary is a document of all the stuff that happened in the making of the documentary. And number 3, we'll talk more about that later. Number 3, a computer file containing information input by a computer user. Wow, that's all the pauses. Let's do that one again. A computer file containing information input by a computer user and usually created with an application as a word processor.
So that makes sense to me. So
Yeah.
it's a digital marking, kind of going back to 2B, where it is a document in that it has markings on it. They may be digital in this case, but it's a document.
Yeah.
Doc. That's why it's there in
Right, Word
my
docs.
Microsoft Word.
I got Word sitting right there on my computer screen.
Yes.
Yep, I have made, there's like Excel documents. It's a document. It has that information in it.
Yes, and if it's Excel, it's probably a nightmare if you're me.
It could be a nightmare, yeah. And then of course, like Google Docs or the
Yes.
Google Drive has Google Docs. That's where the word comes from. It's documents. I use that all the time too. Documental. I feel very documental. Documental, that is an adjective.
Yes.
This is a Middle English word, and it means precept or teaching. From the Lower Latin documentum, which means official paper, which is also from the Latin, I guess, documentum, which means lesson or proof. From the Latin docere, which means to teach. And there's more at the word docile. So I guess basically what all that is saying is that they would put information on a document and they would use that to teach from. This is the lesson, this is the teaching, the official paper, and then of course the definitions just expanded from there.
Yes. More docile is interesting to me. Like, do you have to be docile to like take in what's on the document, I wonder?
Yeah, sometimes that word there, when it says there's more at this word, I'm like, how? What? I don't understand. Well, I can go back to the word docile in the etymology. It also says the Latin docere, which means to teach, akin to the Latin decere, which means to be fitting, but it doesn't combine document and docile in any way, really.
Right. Or does it? No.
I don't know. Can you meow, please?
Meow.
The next word is the second form of document, transitive verb from 1711. So this is the action of creating a document, is my guess.
Yes.
Number 1, to furnish documentary evidence of. Obviously, the documentary, there's the film documentary, but there's other definitions of the word documentary.
Yes, like I would be documenting the Tight and Nerdy troupe, for example.
Right, exactly. So yes, that is the action of documenting them. That is evidence that they have that they do this amazing show, and yes.
Yes.
Number 2, to furnish with documents. So creating documents, providing documents, maybe to a court case or something like that. Look at these stone slabs I have with markings on them. Here are my documents.
Comma, jurors.
Yeah. Let's see. Number 3A, to provide with factual or substantial support for statements made or a hypothesis proposed, especially, though, to equip with exact references to authoritative supporting information. That was a lot for my brain to handle.
Yeah.
Providing with
it's almost like
documents.
It's almost like a bibliography, in a way, maybe.
Yeah, kind of.
Like, here's the references. Here's
right.
where this all came from.
Yeah, because this is supporting the statement that I have made, or the thing that I have put in my essay, something. I haven't done a bibliography since I was in high school.
Yeah, IBID.
Let's see. Okay, 3B1. To construct or produce as a movie or novel with authentic situations or events.
Oh.
Oh-ho.
Oh. If only we knew someone who could do that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, obviously this is similar to the number 1. But yes, so you, and in the process of making your documentary, you have been producing footage, video and audio of these events.
Yes.
There are performances that happen and interviews that happened and all that, and then you are documenting it.
Yes, these are true statements.
They are true statements. I don't like false statements. Let's see. Well, I'm trying to think. Is there? Can you give just a little bit of information about like what was that process like? Actually like getting this footage or this audio, mostly footage, obviously.
Yeah,
interviews
with audio
and performances. Yeah,
for sure.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, basically, we started off just interviewing the performers in their homes, and we took our time and sort of got to know them, and sort of, we were kind of feeling out whether or not there was like a real story here that was not just like a 10-minute short or something. Mm-hmm. And so we set up our cameras and our mics, and we just sat them in their space and made sure that the stuff surrounding them was representative of them. Like, for example, we interviewed one person in her workshop. So she's got, a lot of boas behind her, a lot of sequins. It's just very bright and colorful around her because that's the medium she works in. And so, that was a document of her life at that time, in that moment. And we talked to her about all of her past and present and future things that are now outdated because it's been like 100 years since we started.
When did you start, by the way?
And we started shooting in 2017, I think.
Oh, wow.
Documentaries take quite a while when no one is
paying you,
financing them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Oh, 20. Okay. That helps just to know. Like, I love that information. Doesn't matter really, but
yeah,
I'm
like
sure
my
they're
producing.
all like,
my producing partner Jonathan has a 5-year-old who was not a person when we started. So it's at least been 5 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a process. It is a process. Okay. So that is the act of documenting all of those events. And then here we have 3B2. This is to portray realistically, is to document.
Yes.
Number 4.
Which is what a documentary would do, as opposed to, say, a reality show that may not portray things super realistically sometimes, maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's obviously the thing that a lot of people say about reality TV shows, that it's way more written and edited than most people realize.
Yeah, some of them are, yes.
Yeah,
some of them are still more closely docuseries.
Right.
And those are the ones that I really enjoy working on because it's more fun.
Totally.
As opposed to asking people who aren't actors to say things that people who aren't writers wrote.
Right. Here are the lines. Just say these things.
Yeah.
One of the shows that I really liked was Face Off. Did you ever watch that show?
Yeah.
Yeah. Special effects makeup.
Yeah. That was great.
Obviously it's very well planned out. But the thing about shows like that is, it's special effects makeup people coming together and having to create a new thing every week or whatever. And first of all, special effects makeup is incredible in the first place.
Yeah.
But they're really doing this stuff. They're really making it. And it's so beautiful.
It is
and
pretty
amazing.
cool. And within the confines of that sort of, that instruction, they're able to, they're able to play the natural drama of whatever's happening, because there is a time limit. There is there are judges. There's it's either good or bad, and that is, a lot of these people they're putting a ton of effort into this thing, so it makes sense that the phrase "emotions are running high" makes me insane, but that is, that's what it's there for.
Yeah, it's not a situation I would want to be in because my emotions would be freaking out.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we have number 4 for document. This is to furnish with ship's papers, and the example is you are furnishing a ship with ship's papers. I guess this would be the list of the passengers, maybe, or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not doing any of that.
I'm not a ship person. Documentable is an adjective, and documenter is a noun. Something can be documented, so it is documentable, and the person documenting is the documenter.
Yes.
They are also a documentalist. I love that you get a kick out of that every time.
You just pulled us right in. It was. I didn't even see it coming.
That's how I roll. Documentalist, noun from 1939, a specialist in documentation. So I guess if you're really good at writing Word docs or Excels or just pieces of paper with writings on them, you are a documentalist.
You mean if you excel at writing docs?
Oh, yeah.
Meow!
Documentarian is next. Noun from 1943. Meow. One who makes a documentary is a documentarian. And you, sir, are a documentarian, whether you like it or not.
Some people might say I'm a pre-award-winning documentarian.
Pre-award-winning.
Yeah.
So is this the first documentary that you've ever made?
It is. I'm also, I guess, a pre-documentarian in that case. I'm still in the middle of doing it.
Yeah, so where's the line? If you've started making it, are you a documentarian, or does it have to be done and out in the world for it to be considered a documentary?
I don't know. Are you a piano player when you first start practicing, or do you have to wait until you're good at it and are able to prove it?
It's a good question.
I don't have an answer.
It's one for the ages. Do you have other ideas of documentaries that you would like to make, or are you completely tapped out on this one?
Oh, at the moment, I would rather die than do another documentary, but I do have some that are floating around in my head, and I don't know if they'll ever happen, so I don't want to talk about them yet.
Yeah, that's fair.
How's that?
Yeah, I love it.
I don't even know if this is going to happen yet.
Yeah. Well, this episode will definitely happen.
Hooray!
But it doesn't count in the grand scheme of documentaries.
It might. You're making a documentary about this edition of the dictionary.
Well, and in addition to that, right, you bring up a good point. I am documenting this specific edition of this dictionary. I may upgrade at some point. I'm also documenting my own thoughts of what I think and what I want to say about these things. And also when I have a guest on, I am documenting their thoughts and things that they have to say. I think it's those two parts that are my favorite, because I know that when I'm old and I've lost all my memory, I can look back at this and realize, like, learn about my whole life. But I really want to bring more guests on as this show progresses, because I just find it way more engaging and entertaining. And I love talking to these people, and I love learning from them. And I think the world should do that too. So
I agree. Anyone who's considering being a guest on this podcast, they should do it. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
I have a big list of people that I would like to get, more in my head than I even have written down, than I have documented. But there are certain people I'm like, ooh, I'd love to get them on this episode, and it's never going to happen.
It might. You never know.
Do you have any connections?
I can get you Pickles Kintaro.
I've already done burlesque, so we'll have to come up with something else.
Okay, Pickles.
There we go.
She's the gherkin with the merkin. So you can bring her on during the G's. Maybe we'll be done by then.
Yes, your movie will be out, and yeah, we'll get her on for gherkin. Maybe merkin too. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Let's see. I would love to be a documentarian. I actually did start to make a documentary, which has since turned into a different podcast that is out there in the world, but I'm not actively making more episodes. I would love to make more episodes. I just don't have time to make more episodes. So that's one documentary that I would still love to go back and make it a visual documentary. And I've had so many like documentary ideas in my brain, but yeah, whether or not we'll have the time.
What was that podcast?
It's called When I'm High, and I interview people about what it's like to be high on cannabis.
Okay.
And I think it's great.
That sounds amazing.
I think it's really wonderful. I did about 30 to 40 interviews on camera with the plan to rotoscope animate everything. Have you ever seen Waking Life or A Scanner Darkly?
Yes.
With that kind of style, and you know, animation, you can have fun with it.
Nice.
But that was just too much. So when the pandemic hit, actually, I turned it. I had already edited a lot of stuff, and so I just turned that into a podcast, and then I did more interviews during the pandemic. I got another 20 interviews or something like that.
Oh wow, how cool!
I think it's a fascinating topic.
Are you?
And I love what people say.
Are you high during the interviews or just the guest?
I am not. Because I don't think there would be much of an interview if I were. Although that would be fun sometime.
Yeah.
There have been some interview subjects who were like, yeah, I want to be high for this whole thing. They're not like totally noticeably high, but a little bit.
Okay.
And then some people were straight for the first part and then got stoned at the end. So you could sort of get like a...
Oh, that's cool.
You can see the difference a little bit.
Yeah. I like that. I like that aspect of like seeing what changes happen as they progress. Sort of like drunk history in that way of like,
my God,
as they get more and more inebriated.
I love that show. I'm sad it's gone.
I feel like they need to bring that back because it is so good.
Yeah, someday I think it will come back. Yeah. And you know that they have to do those things a few times because
I'm sure, yes.
Sometimes like there's a lot of cutting back and forth. Oh, to be on set for something like that would be so funny.
God. I have another Weird Al story if you'll indulge me.
Oh God, yes.
But basically, Al, I don't know if you have seen this episode, but Al at one point plays Hitler in one of the Drunk History episodes. And in Philly, at one of the shows, someone brought Al a photo of him dressed as Hitler and asked him to sign it. Al sort of hesitated, and the person was like, does it help if I tell you that I'm Jewish? And Al was like, yeah, actually, kind of.
Yeah, it totally does. Oh, that would be a sight to see. Wow. Al signing a picture of himself as Hitler. I don't specifically remember that episode, but I'm sure I saw it. I'll have to go check that one out.
It's pretty great.
Wow. He's a good sport for doing that.
He sure is.
Oh, my God. I think we have... Well, no, maybe we'll hold on to that. It's my meow time. Meow.
Ooh.
I don't know what that is.
Very sultry. I don't really know what's happening.
It's a burlesque meow.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
know. The next word is documentarist. Noun from 1949. The synonym is documentarian. So...
I'm a pre-award-winning documentarist.
Yes, you are. You should bring that word back.
Yeah, I'm going to change my IMDb profile.
There you go. Pre-award-winning documentarist. What I think is interesting, though, is that the word documentarian is from 1943. Documentarist is from 1949, 6 years later. But documentarist just sends you to the word documentarian, which makes me think that documentarist is older and archaic, kind of. But I guess it's just another word that didn't stick.
Yeah, which I can see why. It's not, I don't know. It's very, I don't want it. I don't want that word.
Well, but would you feel differently if we lived in a universe where documentarist was the word that we had grown up with for all these decades and then we were just used to hearing it?
It depends. Do they still have peanut butter in that world?
Yes, they do.
Then I'm fine.
I'll do whatever as long as there's peanut butter. Hold on. I'm in my work office. I have to show you something.
Yes.
I have a jar of peanut butter
Yes.
in my office because
As you
sometimes
should.
you just want some peanut butter.
Yeah. Is that Trader Joe's?
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, now I have to put my headphones back in. Otherwise, I won't hear myself. And I absolutely have to hear myself at all times.
Yes.
My headphones are stuck in this thing. Oh my God, how did this happen? Okay, so I did a meow, which means I now have to talk about the word documentary, which is actually our last word of this episode. This is the first form. We had to build up this suspense.
Wow.
Documentary, adjective from 1802. 1, being or consisting of documents, and then also contained or certified in writing, as in documentary evidence.
Yes.
That is what that is.
That is what that is.
It's just all about documents and writings. Number 2, of relating to or employing documentation in literature or art. But broadly, the synonyms are factual and objective, as in a documentary film of the war. Now, this is not the actual documentary film. That would be the noun, which is the next one. This is just a film of the war that happens to be documentary because it is factual and objective.
Yes. And it's interesting to me that it can be in literature or art as well. So it's like an autobiography or even a biography, technically a documentary in that case?
Right. Yeah. Employing documentation in literature or art. I guess that would be. Yeah.
Or am I misreading that? Of relating to or employing documentation in literature or art.
Yeah, it's a little hard for my brain to process it because we don't really use this word in that context, like ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm just not used to hearing it in that way.
In your travels through the dictionary, have you found words that you have just co-opted into your daily life that maybe aren't traditionally used for what you're using them for? That was a terribly constructed sentence.
And I totally know what you're saying, though. I got there. There have definitely been words that I have said in the podcast, I want to bring this word back, or I want to try and remember this word, and I don't remember any of them. That's the problem with me, is that I have such a terrible memory. Also, I'm just filling it with so much information. That
This is a lot of, it's a lot of things happening here.
It's just a lot, yeah.
How many episodes have you had so far?
We're getting close to 1,500 at this point.
1,500 little documentaries, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You are a true documentarian, maybe more than almost anyone else I've ever met.
We'll see when I die.
Oh.
We'll
Careful.
yeah, right. There have been a few words, though, that have stuck. Like, there have been some really interesting etymologies. Like, one of the ones that stuck out to me that I always think of is the word carnival. Has a really interesting etymology about removing meat. That's literally the etymology, because carnival was when it's the whole Lent thing and they get rid of the meat. And
wow.
Yeah, that one was fascinating.
Oh, that's fascinating. Wow, that is really interesting. Carne, that makes sense.
Yeah, carne, and then levare is to leave out or to remove or something. And then one of the first words that really struck me, and I tell people this all the time, this is like my go-to example, it's abecedarian. And it's basically the process of like putting things in alphabetical order or something that is in alphabetical order or things related to that. So yeah, I was like, what?
Wait,
what is this word?
abecedarian?
Yes. It's crazy, right? I had no idea this word existed. That. Yeah. So, but no, I should try and come up with some other words that like I can actually use every day. I don't have any yet.
Okay. Abecedarian feels like it's up there, though.
It is. It's a good one. Yeah, you can. It's like a good party trick word. I don't know how exactly. Yeah. But you can figure it out.
Next time I'm at a party, I'll let you know.
Yeah, please tell me how you turn that into a party trick. Hey, guess a word that I know. Bet you can't guess it.
I bring the word? Yeah, I don't know.
What's the word that I'm thinking of? The word that I'm thinking of right now is documentarily, which is an adverb.
It is.
You get to do the very last sound effect.
Mew.
Your cat. What's your cat's name?
Chloe.
Chloe. Oh yeah. Chloe never did a sound effect for us.
No, Chloe is very asleep currently.
Aw.
Oh. No.
I want to go in there and sleep.
Yes, maybe. Let's see. Hi. Yeah. Oh, okay.
That counts. I mean, she was prompted, but that counts.
She was very prompted. Yes.
That was so cute. Okay, the last word is the second form of documentary, noun from 1935. What's the earliest documentary that you can think of?
Something from 1935, I think.
I think you might be right.
That's a good question. I don't, offhand, I don't know.
The first one that I can think of is, it was a very, what's the word? Not good documentary. I don't know if this is actually the first one. Nanook of the North.
Nanook, yeah. That was in the, when was that?
Oh, here, in the 20s, 1922.
Wow.
But yeah, there was a lot of like not good things about that film, and also like creating situations that they made to make people think that they were real and they weren't real.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't know anything about that in reality TV. What?
What
are you talking about?
But here's the Wikipedia entry for documentary film, which I will put in the show notes. And yeah, I mean, the history goes back into the pre-1900s.
Wow.
Fascinating. I should read the definition. It is a documentary presentation as a film or novel.
I like that. So there are documentary novels, according to this.
Right. So, like, is that a biography or an autobiography, or what would be a documentary novel?
Like a true crime novel, maybe?
Maybe.
I mean, all of those count, I guess.
I think the definition is a little blurry, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting, because I've never used that term. Not that I'm the end all be all, but like I've never used that term when describing like a novel or a book.
Yeah, I have definitely.
And it's also interesting that they specifically say novel, not biography here.
Okay, here's a thing called Nothing But the Truth, a documentary novel.
What does that mean?
It's a Novel is historical fiction. It tells the story of an incident in a fictional... Wait a minute. Oh, historical fiction. Okay. My brain was like, what?
Historical fiction?
But how is that a documentary if it's a fiction? Interesting. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess anything that's either historical fiction or nonfiction would be a documentary novel, I guess.
Interesting. Huh. This is very odd. I have a lot of questions about this, Spencer. The dictionary, it's over. Forget it. What?
We're done. We're done with you, dictionary. Yeah, I keep on switching the words. What are some of your favorite documentaries that you have seen?
Oh, gosh. Wow. What was there was I'm going to screw this up, and I should have prepped for this.
I didn't ask you to, so.
No, but I should have known. There was a documentary about a person who went into like old age homes, or an old age home to have them create music. Let me look it up real quick. I'm very sorry.
They were singing rock songs and stuff.
Yes.
If you find the name, I think I've seen that. It's great. Was it up for an Oscar?
Maybe. Was it called Young at Heart? Is that it?
That sounds right.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So
that's a really good one.
One of my favorite documentaries is Young at Heart, which was from 2007, and it was basically the story of a guy who went into an old age home and had the seniors there singing like Nirvana songs, I think, and just modern rock tracks, and it was just really well done, really gorgeous, really fun, funny, heartwarming, and then I mean, they're senior citizens, so you can imagine it's not much of a spoiler, but people, people don't make it to the end sometimes of the film, and so it's great. It's really well done. There was also, one of my favorites is the story of the guy, I think he was like a Letterman writer, who collects corporate musical albums. Like, there was this point in time where corporations would have like sales retreats, and there would be like a Broadway style play about their product, basically. And what is that called?
Is this Bathtubs Over Broadway?
That is exactly what it is. Yes, Bathtubs Over Broadway. I just had to
look it up.
It's incredible. It's so fun. It's about this guy's obsession with these things, but you're learning about the things more than you're learning really about him. Although it is pretty funny to see how his family reacts to his obsession of these things, because it is a very unique obsession.
That's funny. I haven't heard of this one.
It's great.
The
end of that is much more. Much happier than Young at Heart.
Than the other one. I remember Young at Heart. I think the picture on the front had like it was like a like the neck of a guitar or a bass, like the top of it, but it was like crocheted, I think, if I remember correctly.
That is brilliant. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Bathtubs Over Broadway. I'm gonna have to put that on the list. That sounds fun.
It is super fun. Yeah. Have you seen Three Identical Strangers?
Oh my God, yes.
That was wild.
Yes. I don't even want to say anything. I just want people to watch Three Identical Strangers. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's I've thought about that a lot since then.
Yeah, that was freaking crazy.
Freaking crazy is right.
Freaking crazy. What about some of your favorites?
Yeah, well, I brought up a list here, just like the standard Google list of like documentaries to remind myself. So I'll just look at a few of these that I have actually seen. They Shall Not Grow Old. Did you see that one?
No, what is that?
This is the one directed by Peter Jackson about World War I. So they got all of this footage from World War I film footage, they also got interviews of World War I veterans from, I think, the 70s. In the 70s, they did these interviews, and it's basically just goes through, and it's their own voices talking about what it was like going through World War I. But they remastered this footage, and
Wow.
it's gorgeous, and they of course added sound effects and everything. It's so beautiful. Unfortunately, I watched it on a plane, but it was still spectacular.
That's amazing.
And yeah, so it's just about the life of these World War I veterans and what it was like with this amazing footage that you didn't even think existed.
That is pretty cool.
And I think it was mostly British, Australian, and New Zealand fighters.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Let's see. I think it's funny that on this list they have What We Do in the Shadows, which is so not a real documentary. But I love it.
I mean, if that counts, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Twin Peaks, also one of my favorite documentaries.
Yeah. Totally all real. Actually, What We Do in the Shadows, there is a... you are in good company, because one of the cops at the end of the movie is Karen O'Leary, and she has been on this show a couple of times.
Oh, that's very exciting.
Love
Nice.
her. She is amazing. Borat. Oh, geez. Won't You Be My Neighbor? Did you ever see that one?
Oh, yeah, that was great.
Oh, I bawled.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was that's tough.
Let's see. I mean, yeah. I definitely have not seen as many documentaries as I would like. Every year for the Oscars, they go through the list of the nominations, and I'm like, haven't seen it.
It's hard. They're a lot of work to even just to watch. I feel like you have to really you can't be distracted.
Right. And they don't really release them like they do with other films. You know, I think one of the first ones that got like a major release was it Bowling for Columbine?
Yeah.
I think that was, and
that was a real big deal. Yeah.
That was a big one. Yeah. And then of course,
Super Size Me also.
Yeah, that's a good one too. And then the other Inconvenient Truth, that was another big one.
Oh yeah.
One of the more recent documentaries that I saw that I loved was Fantastic Fungi on Netflix.
What's that?
It's about mushrooms.
Oh, okay.
just mushrooms in general, just everything about them. And I don't remember most of anything that they said, but it's just it's a fascinating documentary. And you know, there's I think we've been learning so much about mushrooms and fungi in the last how many ever years that these things are really important to just the world and climate and humans and everything. And it's also a beautifully shot documentary.
Nice.
So yeah, it's
All right.
worth
I'll have
checking
a look.
out.
Did you see that Pepsi documentary that came out recently?
Pepsi?
Where's My Jet? I think it's called.
No.
And it was about a kid who in the 90s tried to buck the system for a Pepsi contest. It was like a Pepsi points contest where the more you buy, the more points you get. And they had a commercial with a joke in it that was like, hey, you can get a Harrier jet for 700 million points or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And this kid tried to get a Harrier jet. He was like 19.
Oh my God.
And it's pretty interesting. It's a 4-part series on Netflix, I think.
Oh. Yeah, I'm looking it up here. That's cool. It vaguely sounds familiar. Actually, it just came out last year, not that long ago.
Yeah, there is some pretty funny twists in it. It's worth watching for sure.
Nice. Yeah, I'm sure I could talk about documentaries forever.
Yes.
But let's talk a little bit more about your documentary.
I could talk about that forever, and I feel I have.
Yeah, well, with all the interviews and stuff that you're doing, I'm sure it gets old. Well, okay, so is there anything that you haven't really talked about it that you would like to talk about it?
I would love for it to be done. I would love to talk about it as if it was a finished product. That would be great. But that's just not where we are yet. No, I had a ton of fun making it. Like, it's really fun to shoot a documentary. It's expensive, and if no one's financing it for you, it's slow going. But it is, we've gotten to know so many people throughout this process, both in front of the camera and behind it. Like, we've got, I've got a ton of new friends out of it, which is nice. And I got to, the high point of my career so far has been sitting down and interviewing Weird Al on camera, which is very cool for me, at least. I've worked in unscripted TV for a long time. I've interviewed a ton of people, ghost hunters and gigolos and other weirdos, but Weird Al was the best one so far.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the whole burlesque thing I think is great, but everybody who loves Weird Al, they just want to hear Weird Al talk about anything, especially burlesque.
Yeah. And he was very kind with his time and his energy. He really came prepared for our interview and was just really open. He shared some stuff that I had never heard him talk about before, and I'm really excited to share that with people once this thing gets out there. Stories about growing up and how he navigated the halls of high school, basically, and it's a really, again, it's a universal story of those of us who have had trouble fitting in those formative years, and how we made it through, and how Al guided us, a lot of us, through those years.
Yeah, and I think a lot more people can relate to that. People that we wouldn't think could relate to that. I think more people feel out of place than we even realize.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's funny to see the sort of the current crop of like TV presenters and hosts that are sort of like Al is their like leader in a way. You've got people like Jimmy Fallon and those people whose names are all gone now from my head. But basically, I mean, it's just like this current crop of comics and comedians that have hit the mainstream are all like Weird Al fans, and they're all like not shy about it. It's pretty interesting to see.
Yeah, he's definitely had a huge resurgence, I think, in the last 10 years or something.
Yeah.
Quickly, just what are what is the campaign for this Kickstarter campaign, whether it finished or not? Like, what are the things that you have left to do?
So basically, my producing partner Jonathan and I have done everything we can do ourselves, and so now we need to hire people to like finish it, and that includes an editor or editors to make it into a thing that people want to actually see, as opposed to just raw footage.
Yeah.
Music clearance is going to be a huge expense for us. Al does not own the rights to those parodies. We need to go through the original artists or publishers or writers or whatever the case may be. And in some cases, those are going to be pretty expensive. Al's been very kind and generous with his originals, which is very helpful. But when when these performers are doing his parodies, it's going to cost some money, and we want to be able to showcase those things in a real way. So I think that's where most of our cash is going to end up going. So the more we raise, the more we can play with those cues and see those performances.
Yeah, and present it in above board way, and also just the best way possible for the fans.
Yeah, for sure. I think that that's a ton of the reason why people are going to come to see this thing. It's these performances are great, and they're not going to be as great if we can't hear what they're performing to.
Just silence.
Yeah. Just the
Not
sound
really.
of me sobbing in the background.
Can you just sing the songs? No, that you probably can't even do that.
No, I think that would be more expensive.
Yeah,
somehow.
probably. You're very expensive. I think I had another question, but I'm sure I could ask many questions about the documentary process, but yeah, it's hard work. My wife and I just had an idea to just 3 days ago. We had an idea to make a documentary, Twin Peaks related, actually. And
I'm in.
So
100%
yeah,
in.
I'm sure you are.
Whatever it is, I'm in.
So it's we've started to make some notes, but this, just like yours, if we actually do it, is going to be an incredibly hard, long, expensive process. And I feel like I already have too much on my plate, including between this and other things, and also helping to produce a feature-length animated film
my
some
goodness.
point. So it's like, is this really something I want to add to my plate? But I also really do love the idea. It's different, but I think it would be great if we did it. So yeah, we'll see where that goes, and maybe I will I'll poke you for thoughts and suggestions.
Please
or
do.
something.
Anytime.
I'll bet. Well, we need to pick a word of the episode, and by we I mean you,
Oh, my
UHJeff. So I'm going to quickly reread the words, and then you get to pick one. So today we had doctrinaire, doctrinal, doctrine, docudrama, document, documentalist, documentarian, documentarist, documentary, and documentary.
I feel like I should hit documentary, but I'm going to go with documentarist. I know I was mad at it earlier, but it's grown on me.
Documentarist. Yeah, that's just not the normal word. I've never heard of that word before.
And it's unique, and I want it in my life now.
Can you sing a little song about documentarist?
I cannot.
Then that's fine too. I love the honesty. I will sing. UHJeff is a documentarist. That's what he is. And that's it.
Oh, I love that song. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's my
That's just
favorite
for
song
you.
now.
Ever. Okay.
I think Pickles may want to take her clothes off to that song. I'll give her a call.
Real fast, though.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a short song.
Yeah.
But you need those pants with the buttons or whatever,
Yes.
and you just rip them off, and then you're done.
It's like Magic Mike.
Yeah, exactly.
Also
so
a documentary. No.
I've never seen it, but so I'll just believe you.
Yeah.
All three parts.
Yes, I'm looking forward to the third part. I haven't seen it yet.
I think I'm gonna have to do a binge of all three at once.
That
Not
is
at once.
That is
improv.
aggressive, but yes.
Yeah, I've never seen one, so I'm like, hey, you just go big or go home, right?
Yeah.
So can you please give me and the people anything you want to plug, your links for your personal things or for the documentary, and I'll put these in the show notes too. What do you got?
I've got SHOWGALSthemovie.com, which will give you whatever our update is, it'll be there. You can sign up there for more updates, I'm sure. And you can also follow me on social media I'm the UHJeff on Instagram. If you want to see pictures of my cats, that's where you go. And there's and then UHJeff on Twitter, even as it burns down around me.
Perfect. You'll still be there.
Yes, maybe.
And what are the hashtags that you're using? Hashtag Bear to be Stupid.
Hashtag Bear to be Stupid. Hashtag SHOWGALS the movie.
Perfect. And whatever happens with the Kickstarter, this movie is going to get made. We're going to make it get made. Please and thank you.
Agreed. 100%.
The fans will take over.
Yes, please. As I die at my desk. That's fine.
No death needed for this one. No death, please. We just need to get it made.
With or without me. Bye, everyone.
This has been the dictionary. Thank you very much for listening. And until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information with the lovely UHJeff.
Thanks.